once again, this is the GSL Antigua Shipyard version, so it is with no gold base in the middle, only cross spawns here, and I think we will see a more macro-focused build from Polt. I don't think he's going to take a risk and do any early aggression like we saw previously. I think he's going to try and play a lot more to the strengths where he knows he can multitask, he can control well, he can micro well, even though he said he can't. We'll see what he does do. On the other hand, Bling, once again, probably go for exactly the same build, one gateway expand, try and get as much scouting intel as physically possible, and then change around.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it in that regard, honestly. And Bling executed that really well. Not a terrible map to do it on, not quite as good, honestly, and he would have had he's got a much narrower choke to play with on Cloud Kingdom as opposed to here, which is a fairly wide ramp. It is force fieldable, of course, but it does take a few more in order to make that happen, and it gives Polt a little bit more room to maneuver, very important. Otherwise, you will get locked down by those force fields. Bling's going to go for the scout here. I don't think we're going to see the same 2 racks opening here from Polt, honestly. It simply didn't work. It fell flat on its face. We'll see what he decides to do from here. What do you reckon?
I don't think he will. I think he's going to tech up to a factory this time around. But the thing is that Bling's going to go in. He's going to see this as well. And Bling will probably say that I don't think he's going to do it again. It's, you know, I'm pretty good at defending against it, especially going for that double gas style where I can have enough sentries. So I think Bling's going to read this as a factory play and that we are going to see this aggression from Polt, which is a risk. But remember, this is not a option where people will lose in the group stage. Both of these have advanced through. It's just deciding whether it would be first and second place. And again, we actually see the second barracks coming down in a repeat copy build from game number 1.
Yep, potentially a sneaky mind game. Oh, you're not going to do it again? Yeah, I'm going to do it again. Now, the thing is, the second assimilator is down. So Bling can execute exactly the same thing. But, as I pointed out, I'm almost certain that on this natural, it's not going to be quite as good as it was on Cloud Kingdom. Will it make the difference to allow Polt to actually break through? Well, that's a different question entirely. And Polt now has the information. He knows that both of these simulators are working. Interestingly enough, there's only 2 in each.
In each gas, yeah, he's going to be able to go ahead and just expand rapidly from this, and then once he's expanded, just throw them back into gas and then continue with his gas income. So it's not really that big of a difference, just helping him expand that a little bit faster. And there is the second barracks with a tech lab this time around. He is going to hide it, though. Unlike the previous game, Bling did get a relatively early scout, knowing exactly what to expect and what is coming. But this time around, it's going to go unscouted. Will Bling think it's 2 racks? Will he just stay open-minded and say it could be this and it could be this? Or will he presume that it is a factory play? And Bling has always been a player that will not really presume, he'll always keep the options open.
Yeah, and to be honest, like at this stage, it's pretty good to just keep pumping sentries. It really gets your mineral count nice and high, and then you can start pumping the units out once you've got sufficient number of gateways. More importantly, it lets you get those number of gateways just a little bit quicker because you're not spending your minerals on anything else. You're just sinking your gas into these really useful units. The question is, again, the defense on this ramp. Can it be done as effectively?
And if Polt does do this again, I really don't think he's going to tech up straight to a factory. I expect him to expand, 3rd barracks, then factory, and not rely on a lower unit count and take that gamble to tech up, just in case of that counterattack option once again. Polt is trying to run an SCV in, Stalker on patrol move, is going to get the full kill of this. And how much actually he's going to be able to go in and see the expansion, see the double sentries, and almost reveals everything that Bling's been going for. There's the robotics facility as well, and now Polt setting up in the center. Is researching Stim immediately behind this, but is going to surge before Stim even gets near completion, of course.
An interesting decision there by Bling to actually throw down the robotics facility as well. Absolutely fantastic, of course, if his opponent decides to go heavy Marauder, which is not really happening at the moment, but it'd be nice to have some supporting fire. Bling's force is looking a little bit small here, but it really depends on how well he executes these force fields once again. He sees what's going, Guardian Shield goes up. The force field, not quite as good as last time, but it's more difficult on this ramp to block it off entirely.
Yeah, and he didn't really catch that many units, so if he threw down another force field to trap them, more units would be on the other side, so Bling would actually have taken a lot more damage there.
Exactly.
He does build an Immortal, understanding that, oh god, alright, he's doing this again, so he will be able to push back anything that comes from Polt from here on out once that Immortal is out, especially with the force fields he still has available.
Yep, the concern being Stim, I suppose, when that actually comes in. Good amount of fire coming in on that Stalker, and he loses that. Catches only a single Marauder, which actually causes problems for Bling because he loses a Zealot in the process. So Bling able to hold his opponent off for the time being, but not cutting him in half anywhere near as effectively as that first game.
And there's the factory once again. He's copying exactly the same build, maybe realizing that, well, I guess he can attack me and just beat me clean out. I guess he won't do that this time around, and he's going to repeat the build. And again, pretty good force fields, but with the Immortal, this is rendered so useless. Oh
yeah, you just smashed this to pieces, and that's exactly what just happened there. No problem at all. Gets an extra one, and oh, you didn't want to go in there, son, I'm afraid.
And Bling's doing it. He's using this build, which we talked about, where he has this aggressive double, triple Immortal push, and he's actually going double and then a Warp Prism.
Nice.
And he actually cancels it and builds an Observer, surprisingly, but he's pushing out with a Probe and is going to be able to warp in those units again. This time it's only from 3 gateways, not the additional 5, but he does have a lot of Chrono Boost available to Chrono Boost into the gateways to really make this a very strong, efficient
Well, it's going to be incredibly good because of the Immortal as well. A nice little counter-attack there by Polt, and oh, missing the force fields. That would have been so brutal if he hadn't. And adding the 2 Immortals in there might compensate for the lack of gateways. But Polt has had more time to get things going. Hasn't got his combat shield just yet. Will he be able to strike before the combat shield comes in? It's definitely a possibility. The second Immortal has now joined in, and this would be a nasty little anti-timing for Polt. Unfortunately, not able to get that pylon all that close this time around, so this is going to be a bit more awkward to deal with.
This time, Medivacs are almost out. Combat Shield's almost done as well. It will be a little bit more difficult for Bling. He doesn't have that many force fields either, but he's spending so much Chrono Boost into the gateways, and he hasn't even seen that his opponent hasn't expanded yet. He will now with the Observer, making sure there's no units on the higher ground, and Bling from this can very easily sit back and be like, all right, I can just sit back and tech up from here. He doesn't need to be aggressive up that ramp.
Yeah, a couple of missed force fields, unfortunately, not doing all that much, but he can just pick off a few supply depots, which is going to supply block Polt very heavily. He could even take another one there if he so desired, but he hasn't done that, and that's nice. That really has delayed Polt just a little bit there, but he was producing units at the same time. There go the force fields once again, and those 2 Immortals are going to brutalize this army. Polt's still supply blocked, and Bling isn't. That's the best thing about this. He can warp in additional units, takes a little bit of damage, and of course has the Observer to see up that ramp.
And Bling very easily can throw down the Robotics Bay now, which he's going to do, realizing that his opponent is only on 2 gas. He has hardly any options to build Vikings from here, and if Bling can secure his opponent away from that base, then he can just tech the Colossus and really prove so strong in the next stage of the game.
Nice grab there by Polt. He's able to take the Observer out. And before Medivacs, this maybe isn't such a good engagement for Bling. He needs to back off just a little bit. Army supply is currently in favor of Polt. Admittedly, worker supply heavily in favor of Bling. So the economy is rolling nicely for him. TSL Polt's been oversaturated for a while and is now moving down to the bottom here and will dump down as many mules as he can, I would imagine. Polt looking to re-secure. He's in a much better spot than he was last game.
He is indeed. He's about to be at 6 Medivacs, and he's going to be able to heal a lot of these units incredibly fast. But the thing is, if Bling sits in a defensive posture with force fields, despite the Medivacs, he won't be able to go for a straight-up attack, but he most definitely will be able to go for a 4 Medivac units attack to the natural, and potentially drop 2 inside the main, and Bling is already prepared for it, as he sends his Stalkers to the back of his base, expecting that very thing.
Yeah, and it's a good idea at this point, isn't it, really? And he's got the Observer just to check for it. 6 Medivacs available. Interestingly, no Vikings, and Polt actually doesn't seem to have any idea that the Colossus is on its way here. He may find out about it. If he doesn't, that could be absolutely crucial.
And he's got everything on the natural. He hasn't split up anything. Force fields have to be so crucial because that's not Bling's entire army. And Bling is now moving Stalkers. He sees everything. Colossus is about to be out, and it'll shut down pretty much everything here.
Yeah, well, admittedly, it doesn't have the range upgrade, so there is the potential for Polt to stim forward and actually maneuver. He's also got the factory there to give him visibility up on the high ground, so he can't engage from that side either. Nice free Medivac taken there by Bling, just harassing that force, picking away at it here and there. Bling, with his economic advantage, will continue to get more units out than Polt at this stage, and the longer the Polt waits and isn't able to do damage, the more potential problems he'll run into. Polt now knows, or at least suspects, the Colossus, and is now building a couple of Vikings to get that done. But there is this timing, a 2 Colossus timing with extended thermal lance that could really cause Polt some issues.
And Polt has started his Viking production now. He should just sit back and really expand and then let Bling come to him, because as long as Bling's on 2 base and Polt's in a defensive posture, he's going to have the defender's advantage of position. but he has to be so careful now as Bling is pushing out with +1. He is about to take his third base, but Polt is also taking his at the exact same time. And as Thermal Lance finishes, this army is incredibly scary. Now, there are 4 Vikings about to be out, so he started to build up that decent count. And his army's pretty strong with that amount of medivacs.
Definitely, yeah. Polt's looking in an absolutely stellar spot at the moment. Way, way better than earlier. Bling does have a slight supply advantage and is also working on upgrades. +1's just about to kick in. Polt's just going to doom drop all the way into the main. Yeah. And not everything's out of position, actually. Bling does have a number of Stalkers, but they are not quite where they need to be.
And let's see how many units get down. Even if he loses 1 medivac at the front, everything else will deploy here.
There's 1 full medivac down. He takes a second one when it's half full as well. That was good engagement, but this is only Stalkers to get ripped to pieces. The Colossus comes in from the side and starts to deal a lot of damage to this, but economic damage raining down on Bling at the moment. Needs to bring in reinforcements and also needs to avoid having his Colossus destroyed. Here comes the main army of Bling to go and engage against that and forcing Polt all the way back. Bling's taken some significant losses at the moment, so let's have a look at just how many. He's still ahead economically here. He hasn't lost too many resources. He is slightly behind in that regard.
I'm not sure if that was a good move by Polt. He lost 3 medivacs, a big chunk of his army, and now he's in the position where he has to build Vikings against this Colossus style. You can't really afford to throw the medivacs away, because you need to continue to produce Vikings to wipe the Colossus straight off. So that actually wasn't that good of a move there. He killed only Stalkers, lost all his medivacs, a lot of Marine Marauders, and he only killed a few probes, which Bling is ahead of anyway. So Polt not with the best move there. Now Bling is working on 2-2 upgrades. He's getting Blink, he's adding on additional gateways. I think that he has Zealot Charge also. Let me just go ahead and double check wherever that Twilight Council has gone. I don't even know where it is.
He doesn't have it as of yet. No,
right.
Not by the looks of it. But the concern, I mean, Bling's going up and now against a very Marauder-heavy army, which is an interesting composition. Now, of course, if he had charge, that would be fantastic. He's now working on it. What I'd like to see is a couple more Immortals just thrown into the mix just to mean that he can chew through that, especially with +2. He can chew through Marauders. He has a big upgrade advantage at the moment. +2 is about to kick in. +2's only just started for Polt.
And Polt's about to drop 2 medivacs to the north side now, trying to do as much damage as possible. But there is Blink and there's 5 Stalkers, so the medivac could easily get picked off. But I don't think he wants to go in until Bling moves out, though. That's the key, but... Oh, okay, he does turn around there, the good point there. But let's have a look at the Viking count now. Currently at 8, the Colossus count is at 3. So Bling stopped his Colossus production. His tech now over to the Zealot Archon, and there is no Ghost Academy man. There's a second Starport coming down. This tech switch has gone unscouted here, and this could be a significant blow to Polt if he doesn't understand what Bling is doing. Yeah,
absolutely. He's not getting the info he needs at all, and this drop might help just to have a look around, but actually, by the looks of it, I don't think there's actually any Templar in that army at the front there, which is very, very smart there by Bling to keep it away from the front, so it would be potentially scoured. A scan goes down, I believe, to pick off an observer, and it successfully does so. There's still one more on the map, however. And the question is, where does Polt really go from here? He's got 3 bases. Bling's also got 3 bases. Army supply in favor of Polt, but army composition is a bit dodgy. So we shall see.
Yeah, he's very, very, very Marauder heavy here. He's going to be able to weather a lot of the storm, but he's also at the same time going to be able to pick off the structures, which is this medivac full. Now he can snipe Nexus like that with the amount of Marauders in there. So he's going to try and do that. He also has another drop postured to go into the 3rd base as well of Bling while moving through the center of the map as 2-2 now completes. He'll look for an engagement, but before that, he's going to try and get these drops off.
Yeah, +3 is going to kick in very, very shortly there. No, that's not a good time to build the Nexus. He needs to cancel out immediately. He does do so. Still 100 lost there, but still, at least he managed to cancel out before losing it. That was the worst timing imaginable there from Bling, unfortunately. Observer now in place, and it looks like it went unscouted as well. And that factory taking just a little bit of damage. He's getting a bit cheeky with that. He wants to place that Nexus directly in front of Polt. Polt is definitely not going to let him. The Zealots are getting very angry as well, trying to take down the factory. That's not going to work out. And now...
Here comes that drop, man. And here comes it. He can manage to pick off the Nexus cannons, gateways, everything here.
Feedback goes down. It doesn't take the medivac out, however. At least it drains an awful lot of energy. Looking to do some damage. He doesn't have a huge amount of firepower, honestly, in this drop. He's going to need to back off, but of course the risk is that then Polt decides to push in. A couple of gateways now depowered. More Zealots and probes moving in to try and deal with that. Polt's micro is really, really nice though, and he's not taking too much damage. And Bling is very, very cautious because he knows that he could take a big loss if he moves out of position. Here comes the charge. Polt now being driven back from the center. Wants to get some good shots off there. Like to see some force fields to really start blocking this in. Get a good surround. Vikings are going to move in. The Colossus will die pretty much almost immediately.
Oh, the Warp Prism has 4 High Templars in it, all ready to storm. And look at the position Polt is
Here
in.
it comes.
This
the
could
Warp
be
Prism
huge.
going for the back. It's huge. It's massive. Polt's army is annihilated. The storms are brilliant. Oh, wow. Bling took a lot of punishment in the process, but that was dramatic.
That would have gone so much in favor of Bling if it wasn't for that position, those storms. So excellent, excellent maneuver from Bling. He has 2,500 minerals. He has to be reinforcing with units to continue to pile on the pressure. But an awesome drop there, and I was idly watching the Warp Prism, and throughout that, Bling was so cautious. There were so many Vikings. One wrong step with that, and that is gone, and that is an expensive blow. And now we do have Polt running through the center. Bling is trying to hold his position. Does he have enough in terms of army supply? It's 65 versus 69.
Yeah, Bling taking a couple of freebies there. Takes 2 medivacs and a Viking for nothing whatsoever. Command center in the center. These guys are going to be warring over the middle here. Currently, Bling is king of the hill. The question is, will he be able to maintain it?
And we do have the upgrades now finishing for Bling. He's got 3-3, has also +1 shields finishing. Meanwhile, Polt is currently at 2-2, working on 3-3. So Bling has this time in the next minute or two where he can really jump on the aggression. He actually throws down a storm onto Polt's middle mineral line and does damage to the SCVs, but if Bling attacks within the next minute or so after defending this drop in the main, he's going to have a significant army advantage.
Some damage being done once again by Polt's drop into the main. Wants to shut this pylon down, which would be fantastic. And Zealot's moving in. The upgrades are there, but the units aren't. And Bling's actually throwing a lot of units away here just to try and hold on to this. Does not want to give up that position on the hill there. Finally, the medevac does go down, but Polt still has units in that base, and the warp-ins cannot happen as a result of having no pylon. More warp-ins coming in just to deal with this. Oh, kill it. Oh, and they're cancelled. Nicely done there by Polt. Another warp-in comes in. Polt tries to focus down. Thankfully, they get in there this time around. The cleanup happens, but most of the production is being depowered. That was a dangerous drop.
And another drop is going to be headed off. They are now nearly at 3-3. 3 medevacs full. Polt confident in defending with a planetary fortress in aid, but he doesn't have any ghosts. There are a lot of storm available, and now Bling smartly coming down, clearing up this SCV line, which he should have done a while before, but a big drop going into the base of Bling, looking to pick off all of those gateways to really stop that reinforcement, that production of Bling.
Yeah, and Bling's starting to stack up some minerals. He can do a warp in quite shortly, and he certainly should. Hopefully he'll warp in his base, because another drop is coming in and it's big. In the meantime, he will try to engage against his planetary fortress, and he might very well be able to take it. There is a lot of firepower available there for Bling. An awful lot of storms. That is a good set of force fields right there. The Zealots go to town, cut the army in half, a storm on the right flank. In the meantime, this drop continuing to do damage. Too many medevacs really for that warp-in of chargelets to actually overwhelm. +3/+3 hasn't kicked in yet. Bling continues to push his opponent back, and that planetary fortress is on its way down.
And Bling manages to stunt the economy of Polt here. Polt does have a hidden expansion in the right, and his units now are at 3-3. Bling did hit that timing, but didn't wipe out the army and is losing so much in
Storms
production.
go down, and he runs right into them. It's very unpleasant. Polt losing a lot of units, but still this drop has not been stopped, and the production facilities of Bling are getting gutted. Storm is deployed to try and do the damage. Charging Zealots come in, but Polt's micro is fantastic.
Indeed it is, and 3-3 units with medivacs here and nothing available to kill them. They're going to continue to work through all the production, even going down to the natural. Also, Bling does have a Dark Shrine about to finish up, which will be the key in actually defending this, because he's going to get kited all day long.
Yeah, this micro is great from Polt. He is not letting up at all. A warp goes behind with Dark Templar this time, and there they go to town. The quick pickup goes, TSL Polt immediately realizing what's going on.
And Bling is now building another expansion to the top left. He still has a very decent army, but Polt's army, when all together and not spread around, is actually bigger, especially if he repairs the medivacs and lets the energy regain, that he's going to be very, very strong. I'm still a little bit worried by the lack of ghosts, and I think that Polt realizes that I don't have enough money to build Ghost Apollo. I just have to split across and just take minimal damage as possible through the storms that Bling has.
Yeah, and there we go. Bling's actually going to scout this. He will find a planetary fortress, needs to remove that zealot before anything really happens there. Maybe he can kill a mule, actually, and yeah, it looks like he will be able to, so that would be brilliant if he takes that mule out. The mule's going to run around the planetary fortress, unfortunately, so it does get away. Another drop comes in here from Polt. A lot more chargeless now being deployed to that location. Loads of potential SCV kills here. That charge actually lands, will probably land on the last SCV, so it won't be so effective, but this drop is going to get even more dangerous. More production facilities going to end up getting shut down. A scan goes down immediately. Really nice work there by Polt. Immediately destroys the Dark Templar before they come into play. More production being shut down very effectively here. These drops are devastating. These chargelets are taking a lot of fire, but they can also do a lot of damage, tank a lot of damage. I don't think he's going to be able to make his way through the planetary fortress, unfortunately. This drop is looking unstoppable at the moment. In the meantime, another engagement as Bling attacks from the front. A good storm is put down as well. And both of these guys tearing chunks out of each other.
But does Bling have enough? The answer is no. Up that ramp, there's a lot more reinforcements.
Storm clears up the entire drop. Nicely done there by Bling. Finally, he actually stops that from happening.
And yeah, it does, but this, like, Polt now has a pretty decent army. Bling has established a base in the middle. Zealots were wasted in the bottom right, didn't really kill any SCVs, planetary fortress, and now Polt's moving through the middle, has that ghost count up. Now he's established this new mining base, and with some decent EMPs here, this is going to be rough.
There's still an awful lot of gateways available for Bling. He lost a lot, but he's re-establishing it. He needs to repower it. Another medevac nicely picked off there by Bling. And the economy is still in Bling's favor. He's got a massive work account. Doesn't, of course, need to start mining from this top base as well, if he possibly can. That would be great for him. And if Bling can get his production back in shape and actually maybe do some damage to Polt's production, he'll be in a great spot. 10 chargeless warping in at once. Even with the amount of infrastructure damage that's been done, Bling still remains.
Yeah, Bling's looking pretty good now as he's established that middle. The drops have stopped, the harassment has stopped. Now Bling is transferring to the top left, and his army is so strong. Let's have a look. These EMPs have to be crucial, and it's going to be very difficult for Polt. There's just so much stuff.
Yeah, and it's coming in Polt's direction. Will he be able to deal with it? Vikings even land. He knows that this is going to be a difficult engagement. Scan goes down just to see, are there any DTs? No. Is there an observer? Yes. And Bling just waiting for the engagement. The EMPs go off, and they're good as well. A lot of charge. Let's take a lot of damage there. Needs to back away at this point.
And there's, oh my god, the Ghosts try to land an EMP. They get 50%. It's not enough.
Sliced to pieces. The Archons are still alive at the moment and tanking a huge amount of damage. +2 shields about to kick in. Another storm goes down. Polt runs right into it. Bling is just thrown back, but he's got way more reinforcements coming in here.
Yeah, and it looks like Bling is in a fantastic position to go for another big fight now, and he's warped in even more zealots. There's more storm available. 4 storms at the back of this army for Bling, and there's nothing, there's no ghosts.
Oh,
Polt is in horrible position.
He really, really is. That's a quick blink right there, and look how worn down these units are from all this fighting. Polt dips below 100 supply, splits the force in 2. Plenty of Archons and chargeless available here for Bling. More reinforcements streaming in, more storms coming down. Polt's army gets torn to shreds. The psychic might of Bling, 60 supply, 50 and dropping rapidly. Polt is falling out of this game. GG!